The power of love is really amazing. A heart full of warmth and a career that rises with it. They replaced their small car with a convertible sports car. The setting sun was warm and gentle on the two of them. That day, when they were making out, Jimmy suddenly felt that his heart was racing and he had difficulty breathing. Annie rushed forward to calm him down. Jimmy calmed down for a while and then told her tenderly that he loved her. Annie was shocked by his sudden confession. He had never said this to anyone before. That's why his heart was racing and he was breathless. Annie looked at the man in front of her with surprise and then gave him the most tender response. She didn't know what tomorrow would bring. She only wished this moment could stay forever. That day, Annie found herself more and more incapable of doing anything more than twisting the cap on a bottle. The disease in her body was slowly eating away at her body, gradually rotting away her soul. Little things add up and her emotions are on the verge of spiraling out of control. She lay on the sofa, waiting for her boyfriend to come home from work. Jimmy shared with her funny stories about his work. She could only respond with a hard, "Did or smile?" She poured herself a glass of wine and tried to disguise her weak body with alcohol. But Jimmy sees all these little gestures. Jimmy tries to care for her. Annie wanted to know why Jimmy liked her. Jimmy himself didn't know. But that's when Annie's emotions completely exploded. She attacked Jimmy with unpleasant words and tried to drive him away from her. Jimmy did as she wished and opened the door once again. When she turned around, the cup on the table accidentally broke, and her emotions also broke down completely at this moment. Listening to the heartbreaking cries of his beloved inside the house, Jimmy still stopped his footsteps to leave. He pushed open the door and hugged Annie tightly as she cried on her knees. He knew she needed him at this moment. To treat Annie, Jimmy took her to a Parkinson's meeting. One by one, the Parkinson's patients took turns to share their lives on stage. Annie, as the only young person in the audience, cried, laughed and cried. Jimmy met many patients' families. He would ask them for advice, expecting to get some useful help, but all he heard was pessimistic self-hatred. "You better go home, pack up your personal belongings, write her a nice note, and find yourself a healthy woman again. I really love my wife, but if I had to choose again, I'd never do it again." No one will ever tell you that this disease steals everything you love about her. Her body, her smile, her memories. Sooner or later, she'll lose all mobility, and eventually, she won't even be able to get dressed. And then you'll be faced with her excrement, her cold face and dementia every day. Jimmy just smiled and didn't respond. His heart didn't waver because giving up was never an option. He took Annie to all the hospitals, and Annie cooperated with all the tests. Only in the end, every doctor would tell them that the disease was incurable. The exhaustion that had been building up in Jimmy's heart for a long time finally came to a crashing halt when he was denied a doctor's appointment. Looking in the door at the love of her life, who was fighting for herself, Annie didn't want to drag him down like that anymore. He has his own career. He has a bright future ahead of him. Since the final outcome was already predetermined, why not choose to grow old alone? So when she left the hospital, she found an excuse to have a big fight with Jimmy. "I don't need your pity or your sympathy. I can't be cured, and it's futile to go on like this. I've had enough of this life for a long time. Let's call it a day." Jimmy didn't understand. He didn't understand why she could just leave after all the hard work they'd done together. For the first time, he questioned her love, questioned whether she was really in love with him. Time flies. 2 months passed by in a flash. Because of his outstanding performance, Jimmy was about to go to Chicago to be appointed as the CEO. At the end of the celebration banquet that night, Jimmy met Annie again. She had another man by her side and seemed to have started a new round of love game. She was still as beautiful as before. His eyes were still full of love. They seemed to have 1,000 words to say, but when they opened their mouths, they only say, "Are you okay?" Annie said, "I'm fine." Jimmy hesitated for a long time, but didn't know what to continue saying. Fortunately, the appearance of a colleague broke the awkward situation between the two men. Annie also learned from her colleague that Jimmy was about to be promoted to Chicago. After hearing this information, she turned her head and left. She didn't want to hold him back. She could only bury her love deep in her heart. The next day, when Jimmy was packing, he accidentally saw the camera that recorded their sweet moments, which he hadn't seen until now. When he switched on the camera, Annie's smiling face appeared on the TV. On the TV, Annie was talking about her happiness and how happy she was to have met the man in front of her. Looking at his beloved in front of him, he finally realized how important he was to Annie and how much he needed her by his side. Just as Annie needed him, he also needed Annie. Without thinking, he drove to Annie's best friend. She told him that Annie was on a bus to Canada and would never come back. He pressed the accelerator to the floor and followed the route of the bus to catch up. Finally, he saw the girl he'd been longing for. He shouted out Annie's name, but she never responded. So he stopped the bus at all costs. So he stopped her, who was traveling far away. Annie slowly stepped off the bus and walked slowly towards him. Jimmy spoke out loud about how much he missed her, how he missed her all the time. He knew that he needed Annie's company as much as she needed his. He was very lucky to have met Annie, but unfortunately, he really needed her. Annie was so touched by his words that she felt it was unfair to Jimmy when she needed him so much more. You meet thousands of people every day, but none of them can touch your heart. Until one day you meet someone, he could be brilliant, he may be ordinary, but you're willing to open your heart to him. And he's willing to give you everything he's got, just like you need him. He needs you. I'm BullDog Movie. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, comment and subscribe to my channel. See you in the next video.